First, I want to give a huge shout out to my former sheriff, I think the greatest sheriff in America, Donnie Harrison. And to his lovely wife, Jody. And again, this is not my girlfriend, this is my sister, and she is the oldest. I get the beautiful young lady outside. Thank you, Sandy, for allowing me to be here today. And I won't take much time. As you can see, I have a huge notebook, so I prepared for 2 hours, but I'll give you how many minutes I have. I'm kidding. Okay. First, I just want to say that everyone knows that this election is probably our most important election that we will face in our lifetime, I would say. And so to everyone, continue to fight, continue to press your way, don't be swayed. Don't be afraid. Of course, we have to put God first, back in the center of our country, but we have to stay engaged and we have to stay against the current, I'll say. So yes, I'm Antoine Thomas. I am a 14-year law enforcement veteran. I am what I like to call, I guess I made this my own little nickname. I'm a champion for law enforcement. I'm a big advocate for policing. I stand up. Of course, the podcast is basically just interjecting law enforcement, mixing it with politics. As you know, in 2024, politics have become a thing in law enforcement. So those two have to be talked about. Now let me just say that, of course, we're living in the last days. Everybody in here knows that. We know that our country, and I would say around the world, we are accepting good for evil, and we're accepting evil as good, which we know that that is not good at all. Now, I'm not here to preach to you, but I do want to interject some scriptures because I am a born-again believer. 1 Timothy says this, let me back up. 1 Timothy 4:1 says, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils," which literally means that people would depart from the Christian faith. They would, again, turn to their own ways and their own devices, ultimately seeking evil, Satan as their ruler. They would no longer believe in the Christian teachings, the Christian gospel, the Christian beliefs, the Christian studies. They were ultimately subject to false religions. And at the end of the day, ultimately having no other God before them but Satan, I would say. Now, 2 Timothy says this, 4:3, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap." And one may ask, what exactly does that mean? That basically means that at the end of the day, the teachers of lust would exactly adhere to what is being said. They wouldn't understand what Jesus' teachings are saying. A mass group of people, which heaping, that's what that means when you heap. A mass group, which is what we can see around this country. A lot of our people are departing from the Christian faith. And I know that at the end of the day, we know our Constitution has it. The speaker before me spoke about we have God in our Constitution. In North Carolina, of course, in the United States Constitution. I think we all can agree in the room that we have departed from the faith. And until we get back to the faith, this country would never be great. Now I want to discuss something very quickly, socialism and communism. That is what the left-winging folks want to see happen in this country. Now one may ask, what exactly is socialism? It is a political economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and also the exchange should be owned and regulated by the community as a whole. Basically what that means is that nobody should have a right to private property. No one should have a right to be an owner of private property. You can't own land. They believe that all communities should pretty much put it into one basket. I give you an equal portion, you take an equal portion, and we all equal. We know that's what the left is trying to do. They preach equality, equality. Every day we hear equality, equality. Well, that is exactly what socialism is. That's exactly what communism is. And of course, if you hadn't had the opportunity to read Karl Marx's book, The Communist Manifesto, I suggest that you take a look at that. That is exactly what a lot of our representatives are looking to do. Now, there are four big communists throughout America's history, or I should say the world's history, and that is Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, Emil Durkheim, and Max Weber. Now, Karl Marx, his theory was to, again, abolish all private property. He believed that no one should own private property. He believed that all should be one and one should be all. Now, keep in mind, this is exactly what the government wants to do too. They want to take 100% of your assets and make it in one pot. But keep in mind that if you allow the government to have 100% of your assets, the government can do what? Take 100% of your assets back. And that is what the leading left does not tell you. Now, the whole idea is to take the wealth from the rich and equally distribute it to each of us in the room. And I don't know about you, being a conservative, I like what is mine, I like what I've earned, and I think it's appropriate for everybody in the room. If you earned it, you keep it. Now, if you remember the book, of course, The Animal Farm, we all know George Orwell wrote that book, and we know basically it was a group of animals, and they decided to rebel against their human farmers. So what they decided to do, they had a sidebar meeting that they were going to overtake the human farmer. But what they did not know, that there was a group of pigs lying in the way having their own sidebar meetings. And their goal was to overtake everybody, which they ultimately did. Now, we know this is a non-fiction book, but we can relate it to what is going on in society today. That is exactly what the left is trying to do. Now, I'm going to be skimming through because I have a lot to say, but I do want to talk about communism. Now, one may ask, what exactly is communism? Well, communism and socialism kind of go hand in hand. But let me give you the dictionary version of communism. It is a political theory advocating class war and leading to a society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. The theory is derived from Karl Marx himself. Now, Karl Marx again believed in two things. He believed that there should be no upper class. He believed that there should be no middle class. He actually called it proletaries. He believed that there should be only one group of people, and that is the working class. Now, what we can see, I think everybody in the room would agree that we are capitalists in this building. That is exactly what this country was founded on. That is exactly what we have to continue to push. Of course, people like Bernie Sanders, AOC, and all the rest say that we should not be a capitalist country. We should be a communist country. We give you what you need. Only us, the government, God can't give it to you, only the government can. I don't know about you, but that's exactly what I don't want. Again, bear with me, I'm going to be skimming through a little bit and I'm keeping track of that time. Now, I do want to talk about the indoctrination of our public schools and universities, and that is why we need Michelle Morrow at the forefront of our public school instructions as our superintendent. Now, we're currently experiencing a mass infiltration of false teachers along with false teachings, including false beliefs, ideologies that are causing our children to become indoctrinated on many different levels. And I think we all in the room have seen, heard, and watched it. The goal of many of our public schools leaders is to change the minds of our highly vulnerable students. These leaders want to reverse the Judeo-Christian beliefs and practices that our parents have instilled in us in day one. Now, while doing all this, they want to take the rights away from our parents who are teaching our students in the confinement of their own private property. But government now wants to interject. They want to come in and take control. They want to be able to tell the students that they can use pronouns in school, want to be able to tell them about gender-affirming care, all at the expense of the parents. And ultimately, in some states, I understand, they're already taking the power away. That is what California is trying to do, take the power away from our parents. And if we don't stand by, we shouldn't stand by and watch it happen in North Carolina. Now, I'm going to be skimming through, as you can see, because my time is swiftly fading me. But I'm proud to be a member of BLEXIT, which was originally the black exit from the Democrat Party. And I'm also a member of the Turning Point USA Faith Division, where I serve as a regional manager. And what is so significant about both of those organizations is that we preach to black and minority Americans around this country that you are not a victim, but you are a victor. You can pick yourself by the bootstraps and you can get in and you can make it. which is why we see our border being heavily infiltrated by what we call illegal immigrants, because they want a piece of the American pie. And despite what the left is telling us, and of course I'm speaking to an echo chamber here, we all know that America is the land of the beautiful. It is no other country like it. I suggest if you've never been out of this country, visit other countries and you'll find out. But I do want to mention one thing about Colin Kaepernick. Everybody knows him. He is the one who kneeled, and he believes that America is not for him. My suggestion to Colin Kaepernick is to go home. But I don't know if you ever seen or heard about his, I think it's a Netflix video that he created. He's talking about the NFL. He equated the NFL to be in slavery. He equated the coaches and the owners to be slave masters. Now, last time I checked, slaves did not come to America by ship in Virginia, Jamestown, willingly. Last time I checked, that slaves did not get paid millions of dollars. Last time I checked, slaves did not sign up to get in a ship and come to this great country. Colin Kaepernick, he gets paid. I don't know who would subscribe to his narrative, but as you can see, that documentary did not do well. But I'm here to push against Colin Kaepernick and any other black person in America that tells another black person that you cannot successfully succeed in America. My sister and my deceased brothers, we were raised by my wonderful parents. They're still together. They instilled the Christian values in us, hard work, and they never told us that we're victims. They never told us that we cannot get ahead in America. They told us to go out, put God first, and be great, and all things will happen if you abide by the law, abide by our teachings, and you will do well. And I can honestly say my sister is living proof of doing well. I'm living proof of doing well. So my message to everybody and people who are going to watch this on social media, it is time for us to push back. We have got to stand up, and we cannot let the left hijack this great Republican Party that we do have. No, we're not racist. We are what we call conservatives, patriots, and we love America. And it is our job as anybody in the room to do that. And I will say this as I wrap up. I love law enforcement. I will continue to fight for the men and women that serve in blue. If you ever watch The Real Talk, I always talk about the good of policing and also talking about the bad of policing. Now, I'm no hypocrite that we do everything well in policing. But what I can tell you that and Sheriff Dunny can vouch for this, every man and woman around this country that I know of, and I don't know, of course, everybody in this country, but I can probably speak for 99% of men and women, we do not wake up to kill an unarmed black person. We do not wake up to arrest a person. We are there because our hearts are in it. My first episode of Real Talk was dedicated to becoming a police officer as a calling. I believe that is ordained by God himself. He says it in the Bible. And so it is up to us to continue to stand up, continue to support your law enforcement, and I hope and I pray, and you should be doing the same, that in November, the great President Donald Trump will be our 47th president again. He has got to save our military, he has got to save our policing, and he's got to save our children. And what I missed, as I take my seat, President Trump said this great thing. He said when he's in office, he's going to dismantle the Board of Education, public instruction, and he's going to rebuild it. And I'm all for that. Sandy, thank you again. And as I always say on my show, reach one and teach one. Thank you.